This is part 4 of the circle time structure series, and this is how to adapt the suggested circle time structure that I have to tailor it to a different type of group within ECE. So in the last video, we talked about early childhood music classes. Let's go right into why I have found this one works for caregiver child music classes. So once again, we're starting with a hello song. The hello song is the moment. The hello song is that girl. We love the hello song. Next, we're moving to a movement song. Then we're moving to a gestural song. Then we move into another movement song. We move into another gestural song. We move into another movement song. We move into another gestural song. Then we move into a lap song or a bonding song. This is a caregiver child music class, so we want to encourage caregivers and families to bond with their children during the music class. Then I move into an instrument song, and then I move into another instrument song. Why do I do 2? To fill up the time block with intention. Then I will move into a story about what it is we're singing about or about the group topic. So I typically don't do themes in my groups that are based upon a specific topic. So I typically don't do like a music group or a music class or a circle time about frogs. It would be something that would be more encompassing the overall topic, which might be pond life or animals in spring, because I personally find things can get a little bit boring and repetitive if we're just doing songs about frogs the entire class. So a story that fits with the theme. Then I go into a cool down song, cool down medley. I even sometimes use a cool down medley of like a combination of different cool down songs, and then a goodbye song. So you'll notice, once again, we're starting with a hello song. We're moving and we're oscillating between movement songs and gestural songs. So students are able to move around, dance, be silly, get their wiggles out. Then they're encouraged to sit and do a song with gestures using props or visuals. Then movement song, gestural song, movement song, gestural song, movement song, gestural song. Why are we including a lap song? Why are we including a bonding song within this? We want to make sure that students are engaging with their caregivers during this music class. So yes, we need to fill the time slot, but we want to do it with something intentional, right? We wouldn't just want to add a bunch of songs that have really nothing to do with the group flow. And the reason I have found this works really well is because parents and students are singing hello, then they're able to dance with their children throughout the circle time through those movement songs. They're able to learn those fun, silly songs with the gestures. So they're able to keep the flow going with these things. And then once we get our wiggles out and we've sung our songs about the topic of the group, we go into that lap song / bonding song. So it's a time for parents and kiddos to snuggle with each other, sing. Typically, I do like bouncing songs. Those go really, really well in music classes. Peekaboo songs even. So I found those work really well. And I also really like these because typically my caregiver child music classes are mixed ages. So there's typically students in there from 0 to 8. So another thing I like to do is I introduce the song as a lap song. All right, caregivers, you can take your little ones into your lap, have them face you as we sing this song. Older students, if you have a younger sibling, you can take them in your lap and you can connect with them that way. So that way, this kiddo over here who's 7, he's getting to dance throughout the class. He's getting to dance throughout it. He's getting to engage in those songs with gestures and get wiggles out that way. But then also it's putting older students in a leadership position, because that lap song could obviously get a little bit boring if they're just like sitting there not participating, or they think it's only like a song for the babies, right? So take your younger sibling in your lap, and that has worked really well. Another option for the bigger kids in the group that I've seen work really well during lap songs and bonding songs is I model, because I don't have a little one in my lap typically. I model how to do it for older students. So older students watch me and do the song like this. And I'll typically model bouncing around and being silly. I act a little bit like a fool in my music classes. I go really in and I go really ham. So I'll just be acting silly and doing what I'm doing while still being the group leader, getting older students involved. So lap songs, bonding songs, Chef's Kiss work really well. Instrument songs. So like I said, I like to do a few instrument songs. Now I've found two things work really well for this. The first one being I do the same instrument with different songs. So it's almost like an instrument song set. It's like a chunk of instrument songs. So we have rhythm sticks. We do one song with rhythm sticks that's having students tap the rhythm sticks on the floor. We do the next rhythm stick song where students are exploring how to play those rhythm sticks up in the air, on the ground, to the side, to the other side, behind your head. Now it's working on body part identification. Behind your back. Now it's working on body part identification. By your knee. Now it's working on body part identification. By your left toe. Still working on body part identification. And now we're working on sides of the body and body part identification. So this is really great for older students. And even if younger students are not near their left toe and they're near their right ear because they are not there yet learning about their body parts, they're still getting a nice experience. It's also a great experience for the older students as well. They're getting to see their peers model this. So then maybe I go into another rhythm stick song where we're going and we're playing really loud, then we're playing quiet, then we're playing loud, and then we're playing quiet. So I'm moving between the instrument songs within that group. So that's something I've seen work really well. In a large caregiver child group, I mean, I've had some groups where there's like 70 people with all of the people that I am connecting with, students with adults, with caregivers. So sometimes it's just a little too much to do multiple instrument songs doing with different instruments. So rhythm sticks, different songs with the rhythm sticks, a chunk of instrument songs typically works better, I have found, but sometimes we'll do rhythm sticks. I'll collect the rhythm sticks and then we do egg shakers. It just really depends on how the group is going. And I'm also highly intuitive during these groups. So even though I structure them in a way where I'm making sure I'm following the same order of songs each time, I'm also not opposed to, in the moment, if a group needs a different type of song or activity, I'm not afraid to shut down what we're doing and move on. So, yes, it's important to have a structure. I do not want to contradict that. We want to make sure we're having a structure. I'm referring to if you're doing a one-off group like a caregiver child music class and it's not a weekly class, it is okay to modify and adapt. I'm referring to if you're doing your circle time every single day and your students are having an off day one day, it is okay to modify and adapt those things. So I don't want to contradict myself there. It is important to have a structure. However, I also take a child-led approach. If something's not working, why is it not working? Course correct, circle back. If anyone wants a separate video on how we can really follow the lead of our students in any of these different settings, circle times, early child music classes, caregiver child music classes, you can let me know down below. Then I collect the instruments, I move into a story. The reason I put the story at the end of the class is because I typically don't expect students to sit and focus and really lock into the story and absorb it. I'm using the story as one of the activities that is encouraging students to look at the pages. It's encouraging parents to make silly sounds throughout the book with their students. I typically will incorporate silly sounds for the younger students so they can imitate those sounds and they can imitate those vocalizations to work on an expressive goal. But really, what I'm introducing is the idea of reading a book and looking at pages for younger students. And so I really don't expect younger students to sit for that story. I typically do stories for the older students because after you have moved around and done a lot of bouncing and playing with instruments for 35 to 40 minutes, if you are 7 or 8, you're probably going to be pretty tired and you're going to sit for a story. But I go into the story with the knowledge and with the expectation that I'm probably not going to have a ton of kiddos that are super engaged, but I still read it and incorporate it because I find it's important to work on goals for younger students and older students. And I'm 99% sure, let me just grab my notes quick. I'm 99% sure on my video ideas, I have a video on working with mixed age groups. I don't. Let me add that right now. I really mastered this skill when I worked for a nonprofit and I led caregiver child music classes for 0 to 8, pretty much 5 days a week, sometimes 6 days per week. So I'll definitely do a separate video on that. When you're working in a mixed age group, it's important to have goals and activities for the little ones, but also the older students as well. And then there are ways to really combine the activities that you're working on. So you're doing one song, but you have 3 separate activities within the song so that each age group can participate. We'll do a video on that. Moving on. We finished the story song. If I can dim the lights, woo! I dim the lights. Why do I do this as we go into the cool down song? This is promoting a very nice sensory experience as I sing the cool down song or the cool down medley. So instead of doing one cool down song, like I will do in my circle times and my early child music classes, I typically do a cool down medley where I am having students and parents and caregivers sing familiar nursery rhymes. So because this is a caregiver child music class, we're not singing the same cool down song every day. So if I'm bringing in one of my original cool down songs, families are most likely not going to be able to know it unless they have been to multiple ones of my groups. So what I find works really well is doing a cool down medley, starting with Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. Then we're moving on to Mary Had a Little Lamb. Then we're moving on to If All the Raindrops. We're doing You Are My Sunshine. Families are singing, caregivers are singing. The lights are off. It's a nice cool down experience. Sometimes the caregiver child classes can get a little bit hectic. There's lots of people, there's lots of age groups. Cool down song, and then I always end with a goodbye song, non-negotiable. Similar to the hello song, hello and goodbye songs, non-negotiables, because it's giving a really clear and concise end to the group. I have found this structure to work very, very, very well. And I really love this entire structure, not just the caregiver child music classes, but also the early childhood music classes and also the circle time structure as well. I just find this structure in general works so incredibly well because it's oscillating between movement songs and gestural songs. You're oscillating between having children sit and stand. You're incorporating fun visuals and props and instruments during the circle time. You're starting with a hello song. You're ending with a cool down song and a goodbye song. So it's structured, yet it's simple and adaptable for multiple age groups and multiple different settings on early childhood music classes. So I have used this specific one in caregiver child music classes. In part 3 of my circle time series, I have used that specific structure in preschool, toddler, infant, and kindergarten music classes. Yes, all 4 age groups. Then I have used the original circle time structure that I have in part 2 of the series, I've used that in educational settings. I have used that in play groups with specific ages, so more age specific. I've used that also in early intervention settings as well. So now we're going to go into part 5 of the series on how to find a session structure that works for you.